under their own name. Please welcome to the stage, Rishi Mahesh.
I get worried that people liked me better when I was a baby. My parents have been digitizing all of our old home movies from when we were kids, and I feel like they're enjoying it just a little too much. Like, my sister called our parents the other day to ask for help on her taxes, and my parents made a Hall of Fame parent comment. They said, "It's crazy to hear you guys talking about taxes because we all used to be so happy." Like one of those things parents say. And I thought, that's crazy because I feel like things are going way better for me now than they were then. Like, I feed myself now, I'm potty trained. My only complaint might be that these days I spend way less time with my face in a woman's bosom. But even that is okay because when I do, it is no longer my mother's. One reason I think people liked me better as a baby is that when I was a child, there was two of me. I'm a twin, which I know is scary to some people. But the other me is a girl. I have a twin sister, which is far less scary. Anybody seen Sinners? Identical twins are way more scary than fraternal twins. And I can prove it with a thought experiment. Imagine you're walking home alone at night and me and someone who looks exactly like me are charging directly at you. That's scary, right? Now imagine the same thing, two people, nighttime charging at you, except it's me and a girl who's like 5'3". That's a little less scary. I'm sorry that we're doing this to you in this hypothetical. We were hypothetically raised better than that. They say that when you're a twin as a child, you're constantly treated as a spectacle. Like, you being a twin is really fun for other people. Obviously, to be born at all is miraculous, but twins represent 3% of all live births, so people treat it with a little extra novelty. As children, twins are constantly celebrated, praised for just being around, even if they did absolutely nothing to make it happen, which was my experience at least. You have clout just from being alive, whereas your parents field constant interrogation about how they're handling raising twins, how they're gonna pay for college, and how they're taking care of themselves if they're even trying to at all. It was the 2000s, so you never know. There's a long history of twins being a part of sideshow attractions, and even if that doesn't happen as much literally in the modern era, I think that twins have lived on that way in the collective imagination. Like the archetypical circus performer, most twins can relate to the experience of being put on display to receive the oohs and ahs of a spectating audience, and yet receiving no profits at all from it. People oftentimes ask me what it's like being a twin, and I can't stand that question, which is probably why I'm answering it now, totally unprompted. But I typically hate it because you're being asked to describe your most given circumstance. I think about the fact that I was born a twin in the exact same way as I do the fact that I was born in Ypsilanti, Michigan, which is that on some level I think it's weird if you weren't. The Midwest is where it's normal to be from, and despite medical statistics, shout out RFK Jr., just kidding about that. Despite the medical statistics, I think being a twin is the most normal way you could possibly have a sibling. Like, to me, having an older or younger sibling is what's crazy. Like, you're telling me there was a kid who lived in your house who was from a different grade? That's crazy. Younger siblings talk about older siblings like they lived under occupation. And older siblings talk about younger siblings like they had a pet human. Having a sibling who is the exact same age as every other kid you know makes the most sense. We started elementary school with celebrity status. Teachers growing up would get so excited to have twins in class. Before school started, the principal told our parents that for first grade they'll be in the same class so they can transition to school together, and then after that they'll be in different classes so they can develop individual personalities. Which is just to say that we were getting FaceTime with the principal, the CEO of elementary school, just for having been born with a +1. However, there is this interesting thing that happens when you grow up as a twin, where after getting a lifetime of buzz, you get past a certain age, like you go through puberty, and suddenly everyone stops giving a fuck. I was at a bar last weekend in New York with my sister, and we mentioned being fraternal twins, and this random girl, 2 martinis deep, said, "That's basically just siblings, right?" Which I have been saying for 25 years. But from her, it was devastating. As an adult twin, it feels like the best years are behind you. Every time I show someone a picture of us as children, they're like, "Oh my God, you were so cute, and you had another one who was always there." The subtext is always, "That's awesome and preferable to whatever's going on right now," where you are not only just somebody, but also just half. And honestly, I get it. When my parents send little clips of the old videos they're watching, I'm like, those kids look like they're having a great time. Those were years before anything bad had ever happened to me, at least. I was lucky and privileged to not be one of those kids who was getting heavily traumatized, though my heart goes out to you guys. And I think that when my parents or other people see our old pictures or videos, they get a sense of that. That was before I had met any racists, or been heartbroken, or done musical theater, or had all of those things happening at once, which was high school. Now I'm grown up and filled with nostalgia. For times that seemed better. Some that were actually a part of my life, and for some times that I wasn't a part of at all. Like, I read any article written in 2025 and feel indignant about how the present betrays some totally imagined, fantastical version of the past wherein you could buy a house if you had a job, and in that house every kid had a band, and then you might go see a cool, cheap movie with actors you don't recognize at the theater. And I'm Gen Z, so I don't even know for sure that that stuff ever actually happened. But I'm so curious about a time where people were perhaps excited about the future instead of constantly thinking, as I am, about like the worsening housing crisis and increasing economic divide and recurring natural disasters and genocidal government and the predatory music industry and monopolized film industry and homicidal healthcare system and corrupt financial system and the tech industry forcing each coming generation to further evolve into beings that seem to be less and less human at all. I'm nostalgic for any year before I could think of that sentence. But then I'll like watch an episode of The Sopranos where they eat Indian food and then say things so racist about Indian people that I thought for a second they were written by Indian people. And I realized that this is somehow still the best time to be part of American society. I went to a wedding last weekend of a friend from home who I grew up with my sister. She's also a twin. And, I mean the person whose wedding it was, not my sister. My sister is a twin though. So at her wedding, her family recounted all these memories that were really similar to the ones that my parents are looking over right now. And during the wedding, I got to spend time with my best friends from home, from growing up, who hanging out with is complicated because a lot of it is spent, for me, joyfully recounting the times that we've spent together. And also wondering if the best life can feel is when it is recounted with people you love, which could be depressing if nostalgia was not also twin-like in a sense, an identical and yet contrasting experience, being both the privilege of having memories to look back upon fondly, as well as the evidence of good times to come, a time that will hopefully one day be fondly recounted in turn, with perhaps a phrase like, "Man, we all used to be so happy." Thank you.